Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Friday Live. My name's Ashley Hay. I'm an artist and also the importer of Powertex for Australia. So for those of you who haven't been here before, welcome. And for those of you who are back again for another Friday Live, welcome to you guys as well. So if you are here, just pop in the comments who's here. I love to see your comments and see where you're from. And so just let me know, yes, I'm here. That would be really terrific. So what I thought I'd look at today was I quite often get asked different questions from various clients. And so I thought today I'd start a little bit of a series over the next few weeks where we look at creating layers in painting. And for those of you who have been painting for a while, you know that to get a beautiful painting, gorgeous textural surfaces, really lovely backgrounds, you need to work in layers. So you can't expect that in one layer you're going to get a gorgeous finished piece. So it's all about building up the layers, being playful and putting different elements together. So that's what we're going to take a look at over the next few weeks. So we're going to start with today looking at colouring up some backgrounds and a few different techniques that we can use for doing that. Welcome, Amanda. Hello. Nice to see you. And Janet's here as well. Lovely. And she's just saying thank you for your videos. And this is actually something that I do very often, Janet, is, obviously layering my paintings. And so those of you who have been to my workshops know that I quite often will talk about having 3 canvases on the go at the same time so that you're working from one to another. And then by the time you've got one surface finished and it's dried off, you can sort of rotate between the different canvases and you also learn so much that way. So that's how I like to work, and so you might like to try that at home as well, working across a few different surfaces instead of just focusing on one. And what you'll find is you get more surprising results because quite often when we're creating, we have a million ideas and there are so many directions that you can go. So, of course, today I'm going to be looking at showing you some things with Bista and also the Powertex Universal Medium and the new Liquid Powers. So we're going to take a look at a few different ways that you can create backgrounds today, and I'm going to show you a few directions that you can go in. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. Please drop in the comments. Yes, I'm excited if you are. Okay, let's go down to the art table and we'll have a look. So what I've got here is, this is actually a small canvas that I've done, and you can see how it is very much about the layers. So in the background, you've got beautiful turquoises, and then you've got these lovely textural effects, which is actually done with Easy 3D Flex. And then you've also got a real beautiful rust that is on here as well. So this is all done in layers, and over the next few weeks I'm going to show you how you can actually build up a canvas so that you get a resolved piece where it has really beautiful depth of colour, and I think you can see that nicely, and you can see how beautiful those textures are. So that's sort of where we're headed. The reason for today's live is because I've had especially one person who came to a workshop lately. So her name's Radha, and she came along and she was very, very keen to do some mixed media. And so I let her know I'd show a few different things, how to get some large crackles, how to use power wax, and how to create layers. So that's what we're going to be looking at over the next few weeks. So you'll have to pop in and join me for the next 4 weeks and just watch the progress along the way. So it's going to be a good ride. And today is all about being playful. And Amanda Jay's just saying, woo, I can't wait. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, so what I'm going to show you is I'm actually going to show you how you can intensify the colours with the Bista pigments. So Bista is a really interesting medium, and for those who know me, you know that I absolutely love it. So I'm going to show you how to intensify the colour of the Bistas and get this sort of effect. So that you can have a play with it. But as well as that, obviously, you've got the Bista sprays that you can actually spray on, and it gives you a more muted, duller colour, which is really nice too. So I love the Bistas because there's so much versatility in the medium that you can have. Okay, so I've got a board here that will pull out, and it is nice and ready to go there. So I want to put a Powertex surface on it first. So I'm going to use Powertex Universal Medium in the ivory, and we're just going to put down a little bit of a layer on here with the palette knife. Now, just a little tip for you, whenever you are doing a canvas, it's really great to actually put a layer of Powertex down first, and the reason being is that it actually seals the canvas, and when you have done that, you're going to find that all your layers of colour actually don't absorb into the canvas, and you get a much nicer finish. So actually doing that first layer with Powertex is really good, but also we want a damp layer of Powertex when we're working with the Bistas or the Liquidpowers, the new Liquidpowers. So they're not really new, but they're new to Australia, so I keep saying they're new. So those of you who've had them in Europe for a while, you would have been playing with them and done some gorgeous things over the time. And I'm sure you've discovered so many amazing ways of working with them. And so over the next few weeks, I will be, like I say, just showing you how you can play with the layers. And the first thing that we're doing this week is working with just, you know, some backgrounds. So I've nearly got a complete layer over that. The other nice thing about doing this is that it actually gives you a base layer of some texture as well. So you're actually creating texture on your piece as you're also sealing the canvas. And so it's really like doing the first layer. All right, so there we are. So we've got a layer of wet ivory on there. Now what we can do is we can take our Bista pigments, and this is the blue Bista. The blue Bista I have used for the rust, and it is really gorgeous to get that sort of turquoise colour. So if we have a look at this one, so this is an example of a background. So up here, this is done with the blue Bista and ivory Powertex, and then down here it's done with some ivory Powertex and blue Powertex, and then the blue Bista from up here has run into some of that. So just a really playful experiment, and I am going to be creating a wave with this over the next few weeks. So that's sort of where I'm heading with this piece. So hey Robin, lovely to see you. Thanks for popping in as well. It's always nice to have everyone join me live. I know a lot of you watch it back later, which is also really lovely. So I really appreciate you guys coming on and enjoying you know, what we're doing here. Okay, so this is the blue Bista, and I'm just sprinkling it onto the surface of here, and I'll show you what this actually does. So I've got a mix of vinegar and water in a spray bottle, and so once I've actually, ooh, it's not a very good sprayer. That would be right. Let's see if we can. Didn't test that before I started, silly me. Look at that, I've got a Another sprayer right there. Lucky. There we go. That's a better one. Okay, and then I can actually allow that to run and do some nice things. So that's the blue. And isn't it gorgeous? So that's what I do a lot. So if you have a look back to this rusty canvas, that's the blue turquoise, which is actually underneath all the rust and underneath those textured effects. So it is a really lovely base to muck around with and just play with that. So that's the blue. Now I'll show you the blue when you actually spray it. So the Bisters also come in a pre-diluted colour. So you can get it as a pigment or you can get them as a liquid, but you can also mix the pigment into a liquid. So you just need to use 1 teaspoon of Bister to 100 mils of distilled water. Now let's just have a look at how the Bister looks. So that's actually the blue. So you can see it's actually quite green and it's a lot more muted in terms of the colour. So it's quite different. So it looks quite green when you spray it and it is quite dark. Now, the thing that you do need to remember with the Bista is that they are not light fast and you do need to seal them after you have finished your artwork. Let me show you a few more of these powders because the colours that you get when you play around with these are just absolutely incredible. So this is the black one. So yeah, Robin's just saying she loves the change of the colour that you get from using the mix of vinegar and water. Yes, absolutely. It is gorgeous. Wait till you see the black. So the black obviously sprays quite black, but take a look at what happens when we put the vinegar and water onto this black. So it goes this sort of lovely violety black colour. I do find that the blue works the best, but even all the other colours will actually intensify. And of course, a great colour to use underneath rust is also green. So I'll quite often use a combination of maybe some blue and green. Take a bit more of that up there and you can see how I'm just sprinkling it on. So I actually get just a little tool and I put a little bit on the end here and I tap the tool and it's through tapping the tool that I can actually spread it. So that's quite different to just throwing it on like that. Alison, welcome. She's saying it's early hours here, but it's good to be with you. So whereabouts are you, Alison? Are you in the UK or where are you? So you can see that's the green. I love the blue, so I'm going to just throw a bit more of the blue onto some of here. And I will show you a bit of red and mahogany as well. Okay, so I could just keep playing all day with that. And basically, once you can see what's starting to happen over here, this is really, really nice. So I can play with a combination of the sprays and the Bisters on there. So I'm just going to throw, I should actually put a little bit of the yellow pigment on so you can see that. Probably got a bit of my hat there, did you? Now with the yellow, you have to be really careful because it really does go quite an intense, almost fluorescent yellow colour. So you do have to be a little bit careful with it. And you will find also that it actually, so you can see that's sort of turning really yellow already. That's because there is actually a layer of the water and vinegar on there. But what I find with the yellow is that it comes through your layers, so you do have to be really, really careful. It's really hard to you know, paint over the top of the yellow and not have it come through. So just be a little bit careful, but experiment with that, and you can see how I can get those drips and things going so that the whole surface becomes a bit more interesting, and how those colours are starting to go in with each other. Now, remembering that I've got a layer of Powertex on there as well, so the ivory Powertex is actually also working with the colours there too. So I'm just going to bring that yellow that way through the black a little bit, and I've got some runoff there. Okay, so we'll show just a little bit of the red. So this is a real mix today. Throw a little bit of that in there, and we'll throw some over here where we haven't gone yet. And we might even put some up in this corner up here. So it's quite playful, and you can see how, you know, that spray actually really changes everything. So I'll show you the red in the Bista as a liquid form. Pop it in here. Oops. Maybe I won't. Oh, yes. There we go. So that's the red in the Bista form. So you can see the difference in the two colours there. Alrighty. So a bit of crazy play there, but you get the idea. And I'll just, it's gone a little bit muddy through the centre here because I have, you know, mixed up the colours. So just be a little bit careful with that. But, you know, it's all about playing and experimentation. And, you know, if you do go a little overboard, it doesn't matter so much when it's just a playful sort of background to have a go with. I'll just darken down a couple of these edges. Okay. And so I can just let that dry then, and it is going to sort of crack a little bit. So you can see with this one that has dried off that as it's dried, it's got these little mini crackles through some of this. If I heated it up with the hairdryer, then it would actually crack more. But I like the subtlety. I like the colour to kind of do its thing. And I'll put a little bit more. Where's my red? There's the red there. A little bit more red through that area there where it's gone a little bit dull. And we'll see what happens. Okay, so I would just put that aside. Of course, you know, I can have a play with my liquid powers and things on that as well. And Robin's just saying, oh, it's a galaxy background. Yes, imagine, you know, what you can do when you actually have had a play and then you go, okay, now I've had a play and I understand how it works, how it moves, what it does. Then I can actually play around with, you know, getting a more controlled effect, because I know that if I do it this way, then I'm going to get that sort of effect. So I could just keep dribbling that until I'm really happy with how all of those colours are actually coming through the piece. And but I'm just going to put it aside now. And that is one. Alrighty, so if I want this sort of effect where it is just done with the blues, then obviously this is just the blue Bista on the ivory layer. And so you can really play around. So Robin, that's a great idea. Play with, you know, different atmospheric skies and think about, you know, how you'd like it to look as a background, maybe a night sky, a sunset, you know, different types of atmospheric skies. Alrighty, I'll move this out of the way. I better not sit on it. So we'll just pop that over there. And here we go. So I've got another board here, and we'll just pop some more ivory Powertex on here. And away we go. So did anyone have any questions about any of that so far? So I'll just pop into the chat, and so Janet's just asking, so I'll just remove this for you. So Janet's just asking, could gesso be used to prep the canvas instead of Powertex? And would you get good movement? So the benefit of the Powertex is it is really, really going to seal that surface. And so it really makes a difference to really take the Powertex onto it, because it seals it really well. And it also, you'll find that your colours don't absorb into the canvas as much as they do when you use a gesso, which can quite often be quite chalky. So I love doing my ivory layer. You could actually do, you know, a coat of gesso first and then do your ivory layer, but essentially the ivory Powertex is replacing your gesso because it's sealing the canvas and it's also giving you a start to creating some gorgeous texture. And Tani's on with us, so welcome Tani. And I'll just go back over here because I want to look out at you guys. I thought, oh, I can talk, but I'd be looking down anyway at what I'm doing. So here we go again, just popping a layer of wet ivory onto here. And of course I can actually, you know, use some of these techniques again later after I've created some texture. So it is really nice to have let, you know, that first layer dry. And so you can see how I like to work, where I actually have more than one piece going at once. And of course, I can work with any coloured Powertex as well. So just remembering that obviously, you know, your colours are going to appear differently on different colours that you use. So sorry, I'm just trying to check out the comments as we go. So Robin's just saying gesso is thicker, it doesn't tend to move as much. So I still use gesso, so you can see I've got a gesso layer on the board to start with, but it's not necessary, it's just because I've got it. And quite often your canvases are pre-primed, but it's still really, really essential to you know, seal those pre-primed canvases. And quite often, here's a little tip for you, they do quite often seal them with like a wax to protect the canvas. And so it's quite good to just get some warm water and even soap your canvas down before you put any layers onto it. Okay, and away we go again. So I've got all these Bisters lined up here open, so I'll just move those out of the way or I might knock them over. And so what I'm going to use now is I'm going to use the Liquid Powers. And of course, these, as I say, are new to Australia. You can see I've been spraying madly. This has, you know, another colour all over the label. I'm not so careful. I tend to be a bit of a bomb when I create, as you can even see here. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a rainbow of colour today. So I thought we'd just take the different colours. I won't show you the black and white, but I thought we could just play with how they will actually look next to each other. So that's the purple. This is the blue. And of course, if I overspray it, if I get my water, I can get that as well. So this is just water now, and I can actually spray that liquid power so that it becomes a lighter colour as well. So look how gorgeous that is. I just absolutely love this. I am totally in awe of this medium and loving just having a bit of a play. So you guys are just going to love these colours. So that's the blue. You can see it's lost a bit of the intensity through here. So I could either respray it or drip it back the other way. But see how some of this texture of that first layer of ivory is actually coming through what I've done. I don't know if you can see that, but it's actually really, really nice. So you're getting that textural effect already. So that's the purple and the blue. Then we'll go to a green. Put the green on there. And then yellow. Could even put a bit of yellow up here. Have a play with that. And of course your green and yellow is going to go nicely with your blue. I'm just going to intensify that purple colour at the top there. And then we'll go red into the yellow. Ooh, that's wild. So you can see you don't actually need a lot of colour with these. It is absolutely really gorgeous. They have a lot of pigment in them, so the intensity of the colour is just insane. And I don't want to go too far that way. See how my red is going into my green, and I'm getting these sort of muddy colours through the middle there. The nice thing is, though, often I have been playing as well with muting the colour down a little bit, because I do quite enjoy a little bit of muted colours. And our last colour, other than black and white in the liquid powers, is the magenta. Look at that. It is just gorgeous. And so, of course, you know, when you take that magenta colour onto your purple layer as well, it's just going to be really beautiful onto your blue layer, and it is just stunning. Now, with the liquid powers, you do need to make sure that you are doing it onto a layer of wet Powertex. So that's the magenta there, going up to the red. I've kind of lost the yellow in the middle there, but the yellow is actually quite bright. I can spray a little bit more onto that middle bit. So you can see it. So that's the yellow in there, going to the green, the blue, the violet, and the magenta up the top again. So there we have it. So this has gorgeous texture where that ivory was. But what I was going to say is, with the liquid powers, it's really, really important to have a wet layer of Powertex underneath it, or a damp layer, so that it's going on to damp texture such as Easy 3D Flex, because it hasn't got a binder in it, so the Powertex is actually acting as a binder and is sealing that into your artwork as you go. So really gorgeous, really intense colour. These colours are light fast, so they are UV stabilised, so the brilliance of the colour will be maintained in your paintings as well. So really this beautiful blue, you know, takes away a little bit of that need to play with the pigment in the Bista range, but it just gives you a totally different effect as well. So quite often I will then get the Bisters and spray back into this layer too. And like I say, that will then mute that colour. So I could let that dry, or I could actually get some original Bista and I can just take, you know, a little bit of that original Bista into some of it to give it a really dark, a bit of a darker contrast in some areas if I wish to do that. Of course, you have got the black as well that you can use, which is obviously black. So we can spray a bit of that just so you can see it. So this is the black. It will be very black. Hang on, let me just hold it up there. So you can see that's it, really crazy black. See that there? So gorgeous. So many possibilities. And this is just one way of working with the liquid powers and the Bisters. And, you know, the more you experiment, the more you'll discover. So I really just highly recommend having a play with the medium. You guys are going to absolutely love it. I love playing around with the Bista. It's more rustic and a more natural muted colour, and then the liquid powers just have this, I'm looking down to them, have this incredibly beautiful intense colour. So I'm going to play and show you next week how to do a textural layer using Easy 3D Flex, and how to get really large cracks in your artwork, and just show you a few examples of that next week. So Tani, we've got a few things here. Tani's just saying that it seems the colours are more vibrant and the Bista is a more rustic colour palette. Absolutely great. And Robin's just saying, can you try the white on top of some of those colours, please? So the white is basically going to make it more pastel. So why don't you try that at home? I'd like to leave that a bit vibrant, but essentially you would just then spray the white onto some of that, and it's going to bring those colours down a little bit and make them more pastel-y. So you can spray and layer the white on top, like Robin is saying, so that you get that really, really more pastel effect in your artwork. So again, you know, it's just about playing with that. All right, so I'll just check that I've covered everything. So we went through intensifying the blue Bista powder into a turquoise using the mix of vinegar and water, and of course that works with any of your Bista pigments. You can play around with that, and you've got the Powertex underneath that, so that it's really setting into that Powertex layer as well and creates really interesting textures. Don't forget that you can create, connect and share with us as well on Facebook. So if you're not part of that group, that is a really great group to join. Have a chat to us, ask us questions there, and I also post what's coming up there each week. So here's the art table. There's how it's looking. Just for Robin, I'll do a quick spray of some white. So where has it gone? It's over here. And it is going to make some of those colours more pastel-y. So I'll just take a little bit of that white. Nope. it's not spraying very well. So you do need to wash your spray bottle nozzles as well. So I think that's what's happened on this one. I didn't spray it after my last use, but essentially it's going to mute those colours down. I prefer to leave the intensity of the colour, let it dry, and then play with lightening it in my next layer. But you can see how kind of spitting the white onto it as well is going to allow some of that other colour to actually come through. So if you are looking for a galaxy effect robin, that would be absolutely magic to have a play with spritzing that white colour on so that you get that layer of like the Milky Way coming through. Alrighty, so I hope you've thoroughly enjoyed that today. I've had fun, and if you do want to learn more about Powertex and you need some more product information, the place to go is, of course, go to the website, check it out, have a look. There's loads of content on Facebook and also on YouTube where you can actually have a look at some other techniques. I've been doing a live since February 2021. Not 2021, 2020, last year. So every Friday, so there's heaps and heaps of content that you guys can go back and have a look at. So I hope you've enjoyed that today. The main thing is that I hope that you are totally inspired to go away and actually create some artwork yourself, because that's, of course, what I love to do, is inspire you guys to get creating. And it's just such a perfect time to have a happy Friday and get you guys motivated for the weekend, to get you creating, and then go from there. Okay, so Tani's just got a question. Because we have to put this on a wet surface, if the first layer is dry, will that affect the setting ability? So yeah, Tani, just have a play around with the layers. And so you want to, you might want to put like a transparent Powertex down this in a second layer. But of course, some of the layers that you do over the top, you'll cover some elements of what you've done in the background. And that's where your artwork gets really, really interesting, because this first layer of colour is exactly that. It's just a first layer of colour that you're putting on, and then you're playing with the other layers on top of that to create real interest. And the real trick is to allow all those beautiful layers to shine through your artwork. So if there's a particular area that you absolutely love, make sure in your secondary and on and on and on that you don't lose those beautiful layers. It is really easy to do. I quite often do it because I just take something a bit too far and then I have to pull it back, and sometimes you just can't get it back to what it was. So knowing when to stop is a real art as well. And Amanda's just saying, always inspired. So that's really nice. Thanks for that, Amanda. And it's lovely to have you along as always. So yeah, so if you have missed the live, that's okay. You can go back and watch the replays. So they are on YouTube and they are on Facebook as well. And so you can watch them. If you can't find the links on Facebook, you'll find them in the videos section, and on YouTube, they are in the Friday live playlist. So enjoy that, Jules. You've got lots and lots of content that you could have a bit of a scroll through, and just okay, thank you, lovely seeing you. Thanks for coming today, Tani. Okay, so have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and enjoy creating. And from me to you, get out there, pull your artwork out, and have a wonderful time. And I look forward to seeing you next week as I bring you a textured layer to have a play with. So through this week, you might want to just have a play with creating some backgrounds, creating some playful layers, and then I'll show you a textured layer next. So see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate your support and your comments. Ciao for now. Bye.